And then this morning I thought, right, I'm going to meditate. I've got some great practices I know. There's the Om meditation, which I've taught before, and I've been doing that a little, doing my affirmations. I have plenty of money flowing into all my accounts. I've been looking at my lovely Creating Money book, which is this one here. Creating Money by Sanaya Roman and Dwayne Packer. It's one of my all-time favourites, and a lot of my workshop practices come from this book, because they, in their abundant way, absolutely want us to use and share these techniques freely. So that's Creating Money. What else? I've been looking at this fantastic book, Ask and It's Given, which is Abraham, a long-time favourite of ours, particularly Pat. It was Pat who introduced me to the teachers of Abraham, Esther and Jerry Hicks. Abraham is sometimes described as the secret behind the secret. If you've come across The Secret, Abraham has been teaching the principles of The Secret through a medium called Esther Hicks. Jerry's her husband, for 25 years or something. But anyway, that's Abraham has some wonderful things to say about abundance. One of the things is that, if we're not experiencing abundance in our life, it's because we're literally holding it away from ourselves. So again, it's that thing of like we're literally holding it away from ourselves, and no one else is not giving us it. It's we are holding it away from ourselves. And oh gosh, there's so many reasons why that might be the case, and I've gone through all these things about oh, money's not spiritual and all that kind of thing, because that was very much part of my monastic and Buddhist sensibility. That, I mean, the Buddha himself was a king, was a prince rather, before he became enlightened, and renounced it all, cut his lovely locks off, changed into rags and went begging around India instead. So there's this whole thing that actually money holds you back, which is another whole topic in itself. I've come to recognise now that the richness and abundance of nature is deeply spiritual, that God or creation or the universe or the love force or the great intelligence or our true nature, or however you want to call it, is just deeply abundant, generous, fruitful, prosperous and flowing. And as beings that are part of this wonderful play, we are invited and encouraged to partake in it. It's a part of our very nature, so why should we hold off abundance? That's one thing I've been thinking about. So there's the hour meditation, as I was describing. There's these books. I've even looked recently at somebody very contemporary, who is Paul Mckenna, who's a hypnotherapist, you could call him, who started off on stage as an entertainment hypnosis entertainment programs, but has now moved his work to helping people overcome their habits, things like weight loss and smoking and money. So he's written a book called I Can Make You Rich. And I have to admit to my sort of snobbery here, I didn't like the title, and I didn't like the sort of spirit that it conveyed, that somehow he was going to make me rich. I get now that it was just all part of his sort of brand, that he was this hypnotist who could make people do things. And so thankfully I did overcome that snobbery, and I did buy the book. And you know what? That book, I Can Make You Rich, is fantastic. I'd really encourage you to get a hold of it if you're interested in this area, because what it does is it actually helps you to break down, as well as emotionally and spiritually, practically, what you can do to allow abundance into your life. And I actually think it's really well written, and there's a hypnosis CD that goes with it. So that was a great piece of background. But I guess, once again, I needed to reach into something much deeper, and that much deeper thing is in fact spiritual, pure spirituality, esoteric, just the stuff you can't see, the stuff that is you know, so easy to be cynical about, but actually it's the stuff that powers everything. It powers the practical, it powers the physical, it powers the emotional, it even powers the psychological. That's my phone ringing. Just going to leave it. No, I'm going to put it off. Thank you very much. There we go. So, that's what powers everything. It's everything begins in spirit, in essence, in imagination, in the non-physical. Everything begins in the blue sky. Everything arises from that blue sky. Before we invent anything, we have to imagine it. And that's the way with everything. Before anything occurs, we have to first imagine it. And so, it's back to that spiritual practice of working with the spirit, the will, the intention first, before the thing manifests, comes into form in the world. And so I have turned today to this book here, The Abundance Book, John Randolph Price.